story begins during feudal Japan. The samurai served the country's military nobility. The samurai were known for their unwavering loyalty and strict code of honor. A group of samurai led by Lord Asano comes across an unconscious young boy. The samurai lord, ready to kill the boy once he notices the scratch marks, but is stopped by Lord Asano. Despite Oishi's protests that the young boy might be a demon, he is taken back to their village, Ako. Despite growing up as an outcast, Kai develops a close friendship with the Lord's daughter, determined to repay the Lord and his daughter for their kindness to him. The scene changes to a few years later. Kai and Asano on a mission. While in a forest, Kai tells Oishi that something is not right, and that they should lay down a trap for whatever is to come. Before anyone can move, a forest demon attacks the samurai, catching them off guard. The demon attacks Lord Asano, who then orders Oishi to kill it. The samurai attack the demon, but it is too strong and manages to take down one samurai after another. Seeing the samurai overpowered, Kai grabs a sword and attacks the demon and kills it. He then returns the sword to Yasano, another samurai. When Oishi and Lord Asano show up and find the demon dead, they assume that Yasano had killed the demon and congratulated him. Yasano silently takes the credit and leaves with Lord Asano. However, Oishi notices blood on Kai's hands and figures out that he was the one that killed the demon. He does not say anything and silently leaves. Just then, Kai spots a white fox with strange eyes watching him. Before he can react, the fox disappears. Meanwhile, the fox returns to Ako's rival province, Nagato. The fox transforms into a woman, who is a witch that answers to Nagato's leader, Kira. Kira kills Lord Asano, but she tells him that he is still alive. Back at Ako, Mika is informed that her father has returned with his hunting party. She immediately goes to greet him and tells him that she has been planning for the shogun's arrival at Ako. Later that night, Mika finds out that Kai has returned as well. She visits him at his hut and questions him about his injuries. Kai brushes her concerns off and tells her that even though he loves her, she does not belong with him. After Mika leaves the hut, she goes to greet the shogun, who is the ruler of all of Japan. Upon his arrival, all the guests bow down to him as Kai watches from the sidelines. Suddenly, Kai notices a woman sitting among Lord Asano's retinue. He draws the connection between the woman and the fox, and figures out that she is a witch. He then heads to Oishi's house, where he is greeted by Oishi's son, Chikara. Oishi questions why he has shown up at his house. Kai tells him that he suspects the woman is a witch. However, Oishi tells him that only demons can see past a witch's disguise, and that he is simply attracted to a beautiful woman. The next morning, the tournament starts, and two fighters from each province are to fight against each other. Yasuno is representing Ako. When the fighter representing Nagato shows up, Mika asks her father who he is, since he was tall and looked deadly. Kira informs her that he is their fighter. At the same time, Yasuno was preparing for the fight when the witch comes up behind him and bewitches him. Chikara finds Yasuno with his eyes white. Kai hears the commotion and checks up on him. With no choice left, Kai dresses up as a samurai and joins the fight. The fight begins, and Kai bravely fights the samurai from Nagato, but he gets overpowered, and the samurai manages to throw him to the side, causing his helmet to fly off. Seeing Kai in the middle of the fighting ground, the shogun walks over to him. He tells Kai that he is not a samurai and that he will be killed. He orders the Nagato samurai to kill him when Mika interrupts them. Lord Asano joins his daughter on the fighting ground and asks the shogun for his forgiveness. The shogun decides to not kill Kai, but tells Oishi to take his armor off and beat him. When nighttime falls, the witch uses magic and sends a spider into Lord Asano's quarters. The spider leaves behind poison on the Lord's lips and bewitches him. Lord Asano wakes up and hallucinates that Kira is attacking Mika. He then picks up his sword and attacks Kira. Before he can kill Kira, his men stop him. Hearing the noise, Oishi and Mika join him as well. Once the spell wears off, the shogun tells Lord Asano that he attacked an unarmed guest and gives him the death penalty. He then tells the Lord that he can kill himself to regain his honor. In the morning, Lord Asano agrees to the shogun's punishment and leaves to kill himself in front of spectators. Dressed in all white, he stabs himself, and then Oishi beheads him. Oishi tells his men that they will have to surrender in front of the shogun so that the people of Ako can be safe. Meanwhile, Mika is given a vial containing poison. She is told to kill herself so that she does not have to mourn her father's death. She refuses to kill herself since she has to take care of Ako and her people. When Oishi and his men surrender in front of the shogun, he declares them to be Ronin, masterless samurai. He also bans them from seeking revenge. He then decrees that Kira and Mika will get married so that there is no conflict between their clans. Once the shogun leaves, Kira banishes all 47 of the Ronin and tells them that they will be executed if they come back to Ako. He also orders his men to throw Oishi in the pit, while Kai is banished from Akko as well. A year later, Oishi is taken out of the pit and thrown into the streets. His wife and Chikara take him back home and clean him up. When Oishi asks about Kai, Chikara informs him that he was taken to the Dutch island and sold into slavery. Oishi orders Chikara to arrange horses so that they can go to the Dutch island. Once he reaches there, he finds that Kai has become a strong fighter. He reaches out to Kai, but gets attacked by him. The two of them begin fighting, but just before Kai can kill him, he tells Kai that Mika and Akko need his help. Suddenly, someone starts shooting at them, and they manage to narrowly escape. Oishi tells Kai that they are going to avenge their master. Soon, the two of them travel and reach the base where the banished Ronin had been living. He tells them that the mission he is proposing will end in death, because they will be going against the orders of the Shogun, but they will be restoring their honor so that their master can rest in peace. He then devises a plan, and sends some of his men ahead to track Kira's movements, and to gather more samurai who can help them with their mission. Oishi then takes the rest of the men along with Kai to Uetsu, where the finest sword makers live. When they reach the village, they come across Kira's men. Oishi tells them that they are farmers, and are in search of tools. Just then, one of the samurais touches Chikara's hands, and tells everyone that his hands do not look like that of farmers. Sensing the danger, Kai attacks the samurai, and manages to take all of them down. He then tells Oishi to steal their swords until they find more of them. Back at their base, Kai informs Oishi that they should go to the Tengu forest, where they will give them strong swords. When the group reaches the Tengu forest the next day, Kai tells them that their resolve will be tested, and that they need to stay strong. Kai and Oishi head inside a tunnel, where Kai tells Oishi to not draw out his sword no matter what happens, while he himself heads deeper into the cave. There, he comes across a Tengu, who tells Kai that he betrayed them by running away from them after they took him in, raised him, and taught him everything he knew. Kai tells the Tengu that what he found outside in the world was worth leaving behind everything for. Then, the Tengu challenges Kai, and tells him to reach for the sword in the middle of the cave before him. Kai uses the magic that the Tengu had taught him, and manages to grab the sword before the Tengu. The two of them then begin fighting. Meanwhile, Oishi hallucinates that his men were getting attacked by Tengu, and were slowly getting killed. The Tengu lord mocks Oishi, and tells him to draw his sword. Oishi remains steadfast and does not draw out the sword. Just then, Kai defeats the Tengu lord, which causes Oishi's hallucination to disappear. When Kai rejoins Oishi, they discover that the Tengu had given them powerful swords as a reward for defeating them. Then the group returns to the base, where they are joined by the Ronin that Oishi had sent to spy on Kira's movements. He reports back that Kira had left to visit his ancestor's shrine, and that he will reach there by nightfall. The group of Ronin then reaches the village where the shrine was located, but instead of Kira, find the witch there. She had bewitched the messenger and had lured the Ronin into a trap. She attacks them and manages to kill a few of them. Once the Ronin retreat, the witch finds Oishi's sword and reports back to Kira that Oishi and his men have been killed. She then mocks Mika, and tells her that Kai and the Ronin have been killed while trying to save her. At the same time, the Ronin group tries to recover from the attack, and Oishi begins to regret seeking vengeance, but Kai reassures him that they will be able to do so. The next morning, Oishi notices a group of performers headed towards Akko to perform for Lord Kira's wedding. He asks them for their help, and they quickly agree as they used to work for Lord Asano. The Ronin, dressed as the performers, enter Akko and begin setting up. The performance starts while the rest of the Ronin and samurais quietly take down Kira's men. One of the guards notices the Ronin, and was about to shoot an arrow at them when Chikara shoots at him and takes him down. The guard's arrow hits Oishi, causing his mask to fall off. When Kira notices Oishi, a huge fight breaks out. Kira manages to escape, but Oishi follows him, while Kai searches for Mika. When he finds her, the two of them hug just before they are interrupted by the witch. The witch turns into her demon form and attacks Kai and Mika. At the same time, Oishi finds Kira, and the two of them begin fighting. A furious battle ensues between them, but Oishi takes Kira down. He stabs him and then beheads him, just like how Lord Asano had died. Meanwhile, Kai manages to defeat the witch and kills her. Oishi lifts Lord Kira's head in front of the people of Akko to show that they had won the war. A few days later, the shogun arrives in Akko and declares that the Ronin can perform seppuku, a ritual that Lord Asano also performed when he committed suicide. All 47 of the Ronin then perform seppuku, but the shogun spares Chikara's life. The movie ends with the Ronin stabbing themselves and dying in honor.